The fight obviously stopped in a horrible way. Give us your thoughts on how it was going.
I was boxing the bleeding head off him. This is not over.
What's up, guys? It's Benny. I would never consider myself a victim, nor will I ever cry to you or whine about being censored, blacklisted, whatever. You know, this happens in this industry. You get shadow banned, demonetized, pushed down in the search results, and they try to crush and destroy you. And it's a wave that constantly is hitting your company if you're trying to tell truth. Ladies and gentlemen, we do tell truth on this program, and we were victims of Facebook's censorship. Mark Zuckerberg has now admitted that. Mark Zuckerberg has admitted that the Biden regime screamed, yelled, hollered, and brutally intimidated and threatened them in order to censor conservatives like me on the internet and censor true information. Now, he did this, and I think this is like the first step. First off, I'm a Christian. I believe in redemption. And second off, you know, it's like Alcoholics Anonymous. Like, the first step is admitting you have a problem. And if you ever want to fix something, like, I don't want to live in a censorship world forever. So if you're going to actually fix something, well, let's admit you have a problem, then move forward. So I'm perfectly willing to accept the about face that's happening right now at Meta. Get a load of this. It's talk about admitting you have a problem. Meta kills DEI programs. Exclusive. Mark Zuckerberg's Meta is terminating major DEI programs effective immediately, including for hiring, training, and picking suppliers, according to new employee memo obtained by Axios. The move is a strong signal that Meta employees and that the company's push to make inroads with the incoming Trump administration isn't just posturing, but an ethos shift that will impact business practices. Meta says it's changing course because the legal policy landscape surrounding diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts in the United States is changing, meaning they don't want to be sued. Companies that do this will be sued because it's violating the Civil Rights Act. You can't discriminate on people because they have the wrong skin color or the wrong sex or whatever. You can't do that. So this is what DEI is. It's anti-white racism. It's like, we've been saying this. Anyway, better late than never. The move comes just as Meta ended its fact-checking program. The announcement also follows a host of public moves by tech companies and executives to align with the politics of MAGA. So awesome. It's not sick of winning. Friday's memo announced changes to our hiring, development, and procurement practices. Meta Workplace Company. The legal and policy landscape surrounding diversity, equity, and inclusion in the United States is changing. The Supreme Court of the United States has recently made a decision signaling a shift how the courts will approach DEI. The term DEI has also become charged in part with understood as some practice suggesting preferential treatment for some races other than others. Yeah, okay. Similar moves have been made recently by Walmart and McDonald's, to name many, many, many other places that have done this. And last week, Meta replaced President of Global Affairs with Joel Kaplan, a prominent Republican, who's now the Chief Global Affairs Officer. Meta pledged $1 million donation to Trump and then put Dana White on their board. That's a bit of a run here. Meta is now definitely, I guess, taking the axe to everything that the far left tried to extort them with, and it is extortion. It's like mafia. It is like, we'll break your kneecaps if you don't do these kind of things. Meta nukes DEI program morale for queer staff in the shitter. Zuckerberg joins Joe Rogan podcast. Okay, there you go. Quite a headline. Here we go. Mark Zuckerberg tells Joe Rogan podcast Biden administration tried to censor memes and suppress in surprise episode, but also to suppress Joe Rogan, who's also a victim of censorship. So they posted this photo, and Mark Zuckerberg went on Rogan's podcast to talk about the memes that Biden wanted to censor. 10 years from now, you'll be watching TV and hear, do you or loved one take the COVID vaccine you may be entitled? And there you go. This is a meme they wanted to censor. And Zuckerberg's up on Rogan's podcast saying, yep, they came for these memes. What's amazing is that this isn't even like a far cry or extension of your imagination, because Joe Biden has literally been on camera talking about how they need to censor more memes on Facebook.
They're killing people. I mean, it really, look, the only pandemic we have is among the unvaccinated.
Okay, that alone is itself misinformation. Do you see how this game works, right? You see how this game works? Like, actually, the pursuit of truth is being able to ask and say anything, ask any question, and continue to drive towards truth, and then eventually finding yourself in a place where you're like deeply at peace with the world around you, That is actually the pursuit of truth. The understanding of truth must first come from an open mind and the open capacity to think. This is Joe Biden literally lying when asked about Facebook. So Facebook's response, to tell Joe Biden to go F himself.
These people from the Biden administration would call up our team and like scream at them and curse, and it's like these documents it's all kind of out there.
Did you record any of those phone calls?
I don't think we but I think
I want to listen.
I mean, there are emails. the emails are published. It's all kind of out there, and they're like, and basically it just got to this point where we were like, no, we're not gonna take down things that are true. That's ridiculous. They want us to take down this meme of Leonardo DiCaprio looking at a TV talking about how 10 years from now or something, you're going to see an ad that says, okay, if you took a COVID vaccine, you're eligible for, for this kind of payment, like this sort of like class action lawsuit type meme. And they're like, no, you have to take that down. And we just said, no, we're not going to take down humor and satire. We're not going to take down things that are true. And then at some point, I guess, I don't know, it flipped a bit. I mean, Biden, when he gave some statement at some point, I don't know if it was a press conference or to some journalists, where he basically was like, these guys are killing people. And
there you go.
And I don't know, then like all these different agencies and branches of government basically just like started investigating, coming after our company. It was brutal.
It was brutal, and this is something that Mike Benz, for instance, it comes on my program and talks about this all the time. Mike Benz has explained this is exactly how they treated Facebook. The government behaved like an anti-free speech Gestapo.
Put in place a system that would deal with it. And early on tried to basically make it so that it was really limited. We're like, all right, we're just going to have this system where there's these third-party fact checkers and they can check the worst of the worst stuff, right? So things that are very clear hoaxes, that there's like, it's not like we're not parsing speech about whether something is slightly true or slightly false, like Earth is flat, things like that, right? So that was sort of the original intent. We put in place the system and it just sort of veered from there. I think to some degree, it's because some of the people whose job is to do fact checking, a lot of their industry is focused on political fact checking. So they just kind of veered in that direction. And we kept on trying to basically get it to be what we had originally intended, was just it's not, the point isn't to like judge people's opinions. It's to provide this layer to kind of help fact check some of the stuff that seems the most extreme. But it just, it was just never accepted by people broadly. I think people just felt like the fact checkers were too biased. Not necessarily even so much in what they ruled, although sometimes I think people would disagree with that. A lot of the time, it was just what types of things they chose to even go and fact check in the first place. So I don't know. It's something out of 1984, one of these books where it's just like it really is a slippery slope, and it just got to a point where it's just okay. This is destroying so much trust, especially in the United States, to have this program.
It's amazing to hear this. I know that the comment section are going to say, "Oh, well, it's easy to say this kind of stuff when Donald Trump's president." It's not easy to say this kind of stuff ever when you run, I don't know, $1 trillion company. What's the valuation of Facebook? What's the valuation of Meta? It's not, and you don't have to do it. And so it's brave, and you don't have to name Biden, and you don't have to name his administration officials and say that they're screaming and raging at you and coming to take down memes and take down true information, which is really the crux here. So what Zuckerberg really is going after is saying that the Biden administration was asking us to censor true things.
I think X and Twitter just did it better than us on fact-checking. We took the critique around around misinformation. We put in place this fact-checking program, which basically empowered these third-party fact-checkers. They could mark stuff false, and then we would downrank it in the algorithm. I think what Twitter and X have done with community notes, I think is just a better program. Rather than having a small number of fact checkers, you get the whole community to weigh in. When people who usually disagree on something tend to agree on how they're voting on a note, that's a good sign to the community that there's actually like a broad consensus on this, and then you show it. And you're showing more information, not less, right? So you're not using the fact check as a signal to show unless you're using the community note to provide real context.
So Elon Musk and also our friend Jim Jordan inside of the House providing us this moment. Elon Musk setting the path forward, being the first guy to buy a large, at-scale social media network, and then implement actual tools that don't destroy creators and don't destroy the capacity for people to interact and comment on divisive issues, and then effectively saying legal speech, right? Legal speech. That's going to be the threshold. What is legal and what is illegal? What are committing crimes? I know it's not a perfect system, but it's what Zuckerberg is now saying shaped everything and remodeled everything for us and how we are engaging with our platform. In an incredible moment, he also says that Jim Jordan, a regular guest on our program, chairman of the Republican Government Oversight Committee in the House, him issuing subpoenas to big tech companies about Biden censorship exposed the entire operation and that it broke us. Here we go.
Is public. I mean, Jim Jordan led this whole investigation in Congress. I mean, it was basically, I think about this as like, what Elon did on the Twitter files when he took over that company. I think Jim Jordan basically did that for the rest of the industry with the congressional investigation that he did. And we just turned over like all of the documents and everything that we had to them, and they basically put together this report.
I got to tell you, man, it's been an amazing ride. And now, what do you get at Facebook? You get the destruction of DEI. You get Mark Zuckerberg coming forward and saying, we're going to fire every single censor at this company. We're going to make it more like Twitter. We're going to decriminalize speech. And I tell you, for everybody saying, again, for everybody in the comment section saying, it's easy to do it now because Trump won. Yeah, I guess, yeah, right. It's easier than a couple months ago, but at least it's happening. And you should not let better be the enemy of good enough right now. And now we should continue to push forward and to ensure that these are real and lasting changes. There's a real and lasting board member on the board of Facebook, of Meta, named Dana White. And he has this opinion on free speech.
You obviously give a long leash to your fighters about, what they can say when they are up there with the UFC microphone and you are getting into territory of homophobia, transphobia. Like, is there...
I don't give anybody a leash.
Well, I'm saying you...
A leash? Free speech. Control what people say. Going to tell people what to believe. Going to tell people... I don't fucking tell any other human being what to say, what to think, and there's no leashes on any of them. What is your question?
I was asking that question. I'll move on, though.
Yeah, probably a good idea. That's ridiculous to say I give somebody a leash. Free speech, brother. People can say whatever they want, and they can believe whatever they want.
That guy is now arguably the most powerful board member at Facebook and Meta. So the Mark Zuckerberg 2.0, if you're looking for people actually taking action and changing, well, there it is. Okay? And accept the fact that these first steps are the first steps that have to happen before things get better. It was always going to be painful. And at least it's happening. And for that, I certainly celebrate. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe to us here